Hello. Thank you for being here this evening. If you're tuning in tonight, this evening, my name is Amanda. Hi. We're going to be reviewing 4 specific poses that should help with low back pain and sciatica. And this is a breakdown series of movements that we've been building up to through our Saturday longer form live series. So thank you for being here. If you have ever had sciatica or low back pain, then you probably know how troubling this can be. And so these are 4 relatively simple movements that you can do that are functional movements that can help alleviate these fairly common pains. Let this serve as a gentle disclaimer that, of course, if you have enduring pain or discomfort, this should be no substitute for seeking medical professional advice and learn to listen to your body. I'm not a doctor. I am just a deeply passionate movement enthusiast who has been teaching for a long time, and along the way has picked up some useful tools through working with people and trainings and my own lived experience. So I want to thank you if you're here and you're watching, and I want to encourage you to share your comments below. Feel free to reach out, and we'll go ahead and get started. So the first movement that we're going to go over is one of the most functional stretches for the low back, and this is the forward fold, or the standing forward fold. So a couple of ways that this can be done. For the sake of helping everyone, however they're finding their way to these videos, when I have kind of like an agnostic platform as far as how you can perform these exercises. So I'm going to show all of the variations without props, with more traditional props like yoga blocks, and then with yoga triangles, which are a relatively new yoga prop to the marketplace that I created and brought out into the yoga market, hopefully for you to explore and maybe experience some of the benefits and the many creative, useful ways that you can incorporate them into your movement practice. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. For standing forward fold, you just come up to standing. So you stand up and you'll hinge at the hips. Now, it's pretty important in this variation to keep your knees relaxed. I'm not going to say extended, and I'm not going to say bent. I'm going to say relaxed. Because when you feel this pulling up the back of your hamstrings and into the small part of your back, it's because your back body is tight. So relax the knees and let yourself hang forward. This should help open up the back of the legs, the small part of the back, all the way up into the glutes, and hopefully create some release in that sciatic nerve. You can also do this by holding opposite elbows and letting the head hang, or letting your fingers come to the ground. Second variation with yoga blocks. So these are great. If you're like, I can't come forward that far, or my balance is challenged for any number of reasons, you can bring props like yoga blocks to under your hands, and you can use them to help create stability. So you can press your hands into them, you can soften the knees more, and as you feel more comfortable getting closer to the floor, which is by no means important, it's not important that your hands touch the floor, you can bring your hands closer and closer to the ground. So you've got 3 heights here. If that doesn't work, you can also create a greater height or support by stacking one on top of the other. And for the final variation for standing forward fold, this one I think is pretty powerful. So if you feel there's a lot of tightness of the back of your hamstrings, how can you soften or release the back of the hamstrings? Well, you can lift the heels by sliding the triangles under the heels. And you can really, you have to soften the knees in this variation, and you can come forward. You can also let your hands rest on your knees here as you relax your head. So what position do I have the triangles in? You probably can't see because of my lovely assistant. But what I have here is the long flat side of the triangle with the landmark down on the ground. The balls of feet are on the ground and the heels are on the triangles. Another variation that you can explore here is bringing in the triangles underneath the balls of the feet. And this will stretch more of the calf and the back of the leg. And again, these can be soft here too. This also opens up the front of the ankle. So another variation using the triangles underneath the balls of the feet. So under the heels or the balls of the feet. The second movement that we'll explore for low back pain and sciatica is the low lunge. So just like it sounds, we're going to come into a lunge, and then we're going to go low. So setting a knee down and moving the feet open, apart, and sinking the hips. So you can tell here what I have to do in order to find balance here. I have to open the foot, and I also have to extend the leg further back. Which brings me immediately to, why would I maybe want to use props here? Well, if the floor is uncomfortably far away for you, by all means, reach for your yoga blocks. I think yoga blocks, especially in low lunge, are very helpful. So you can frame out your top leg, one on either side of your top leg, and sink your hips, and you have something that you can rest your hands on, or you can push your hands down into. And as you get more comfortable here, drawing yourself maybe closer to the floor. I don't like using the word maybe because it's very ambiguous, but I say that to be intentional with the ambiguous word. So it may be that that is right for you. All right. And the last variation that we can explore is with the triangles. So one of the reasons why low lunge is challenging for some of us, myself included, is you might have a knee injury, or you might have some pain in the knee joint. So by having the triangle coming underneath the knee or close to the knee, you have a supportive stabilizing prop for the knee. So you're not pressing into the knee, and it takes pressure off the knee, and this feels fantastic. You can also incorporate your blocks here, or no props. Really, whatever works best for you. But sinking the hips down low, this is going to help open up the hips. You can feel this opening up the back, all the tight tissue around the glutes, and this is what's going to help with that sciatic nerve pain and the low back. Last thing here, if you can lift the head in all of these low lunge variations, you're coming into a non-compressive back bend. It is fairly dynamic, that's engaged. So make sure that you're not just letting your leg kind of dead leg out behind you. Try to engage the glute, try to squeeze the glute. If you can't squeeze the glute, you can push the top of the foot away from the floor, and you should feel the glute engage. All right, so that's your low lunge variation. Make sure you do it on both sides. Sometimes we will do one side and not the other. So build time for yourself when you're practicing to do both sides, and give yourself time to notice what you're feeling from one side to the other. I think sometimes if we're working through a sequence or we know we have a sequence, we have a tendency to move out ahead of the present moment in the sequence or the plan, and we miss out on opportunity for some really valuable information. The next variation we're going to go over is Sphinx Pose. This is another non-compressive back bend. So for Sphinx Pose, without props, you'll come onto your belly and extend the arms out in front of you and roll the shoulders back and lift the head. So you can see the back bend. It's happening right here. In this variation, obviously you want to remember to breathe, but this is a fairly safe, not too compressive back bend. With blocks, what this could look like includes extending the blocks to out under your forearms and giving yourself something to rest on. So it lifts you up a little higher and it gets you a little more arch or range in the small part of your back for the back bend. And for the final variation with the yoga triangles, you can slide the triangles underneath the chest, bringing a pair of triangles together with the landmark down. And the chest is supported here, so the back bend is a supported, not deeply compressive back bend, and the arms can rest in front of you or on your lovely yoga assistant, movement assistant, emotional support, danger, spicy cat. Okay, last variation. This one, I think of all of the movement options that we're exploring here today, this is, I would say, between the first standing forward fold and legs up the wall. Those are your two highest value poses that you could weave into your day-to-day activities that will start to offer you almost immediate relief. So legs up the wall, it's just like it sounds. You find a wall and you put your legs up the wall. Some people struggle with this one. They're like, how close does my butt have to be to the wall? It's not a big deal if your butt touches the wall or not, whatever you're comfortable with. So extending the legs up the wall, right? And what's happening here is you're getting a drain in the legs, all of that fresh blood in the bowl of the pelvis, and some decompression in the low back. Option 2, with your traditional yoga blocks, you can bend at the knees and slide 1 or 2 blocks underneath you, creating a support for the small part of the back. Hey, they can't see. Like so. Room for the kitty. And option 3 with the yoga triangles, the space underneath your butt. You use the triangles like a ramp. Got to move him. Excuse me, sir. I'm going to get a little closer to the wall here, but you can see the triangles fit nicely against the wall, creating this right angle. So you've got some support for the tailbone or your fleshy backside, and another really nice variation of legs up the wall. So I hope that you have found these movements to be useful. I hope that this has been helpful and informative information for you. Try to keep these sequences not too long and user-friendly for everyone, with or without your props. And just remember to listen to your body along the way. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing and watching these videos. And again, really welcome your feedback and appreciate you being here. All right. Have a wonderful rest of the evening and listen to your bodies. Okay. Excuse me.